In the name of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Amen. Please be seated. Well, this is it, the last day of the church year. And all of us will gather at City Hall tonight at 11:45 and watch the... No, wait a minute, we don't do it that way. You know, the last thing we do at the end of each year is we look back over the year before us. And we talk about the things that we have done, the things that have been accomplished, and the things that haven't been done. We review the lessons learned, and we explore what it is that we can do in the year ahead. It's a ritual. It's something that we always do, that analysis, that forelooking, and that dedication, that rededication of ourselves to be true to the principles that we hold most sacred. Did you notice in the epistle lesson today how it ended? How it ended in the bulletin? Did anybody follow it? I love that. It ends with the word "the." And then there's this line to be filled in later. Fill in the blank. You know, in a way, that's what the year ahead is all about. Figuring out how to fill in that blank. We've just come through this period of Thanksgiving. Now, at Thanksgiving time, most of us gather around the table. Hank was telling me he gathered around, he and his colleagues gathered around their table in their slippers and pajamas. But we do it to give thanks. To look to God and say, God, thank you for the benefits and the gifts that you've given us this past year. And we don't have to do it in a formal way. We can do it in a way that is comfortable, that is godlike, but is relaxed and laid back. But when you really think about the gifts that we've been given, the things that we really should be thankful for, it is indeed fill in the blank. For we are a gift. We're a gift that's been given by God to the people that we touch, the lives that we encounter, the things that we do, not for ourselves, but for the people around us. That's this morning's gospel. The people come to Jesus. They come and stand before the judgment seat of God, and they're separated. The sheep and the goats. The sheep who have endeavored to follow what it is that God called them to be. And the goats, those that have heard what God called them to be and have not done it. So I ask you, fill in the blank. What is it that God asks of us, calls us to do, asks us to be? And how well have we done? Are we sheep or are we goats? As I prepared for this morning's homily, I read a couple of articles, and one of them said, I was hungry, and you, the church, went off into the corner, and you prayed for me to have food. I was thirsty, and you prayed for me to have water. I was sick, and you offered prayers for my healing. I was naked, and you gathered together in a community to talk about the problems of those who don't have clothing. And the question is, what's the point? Is that what we're called to be as a church? Are we called to pray, just to pray for people who are hungry and thirsty? Are we called to have some kind of study group to talk about human need and hunger and clothing? That's not what this morning's gospel said. This morning's gospel said, feed the hungry. Give refreshment to those who are thirsty. Clothe the naked. Visit those who are in prison or sick. I had a bishop early in my career, 1,000 years ago, who said to me, what is it that you're supposed to do? What is it that you're supposed to be? And I said, well, I'm supposed to go and visit the sick and find provision for those who are in need. And he said to me, no, that's not your job. You aren't the person who's to clothe the naked. You aren't the person who's to feed the hungry. Yes, you're supposed to go to the hospitals and to those who are ill and visit with them. That's what you're paid to do. But your real job is to encourage others to feed the hungry, to give drink to the thirsty. When a priest calls on somebody in the hospital, they're there because they're supposed to be there. But when a person from the pew visits someone in the hospital, they're there because they care. It's not that the priest doesn't care, by the way. We are cold and miserable people. But think about that for a minute. Fill in that blank. What is it that we're called to do as Christians? We're not called to just sit in the pew. We're called to be active. We're called to do the work that Christ calls us to feed the hungry, to give drink to those who are thirsty, to visit those who are in need, to clothe those who are naked. We don't have very many naked in New Hampshire in the winter. But we do have people who don't have gloves or mittens or coats. And we're called to fill those needs. We're called to fill in the blank. Jesus said, feed my sheep. Jesus said, what is it that you're supposed to do? And they couldn't answer. So the question to us as Christians today is, what is it in this new year that God is asking us to do and to be? How is it that we're to propagate the gospel? In the 1800s, we had this wonderful movement in the Anglican Church in England. It's called the Oxford Movement. The Oxford Movement, to those of us here in the States, is often interpreted to be the High Church movement. The movement of incense pots, of chanted liturgies, of beautiful music, and all of that is important. But the true heart of the Oxford movement was not the ceremonial. It was taking the body and blood of Christ out into the world. For they would leave from those churches in Oxford and they would walk into the places where people were sitting in the streets in need of food, in need of water, in need of clothing, in need of companionship. The Oxford movement was not about the ceremonial. It was recognizing the glory of God given to us to be taken out of the church, brought to the people, following this morning's gospel. It was not just the ceremonial. It was fill in the blank. It was to be the church. Our purpose isn't just beautiful liturgy. It isn't just going off into the corner and praying for those in need. It isn't just in having study groups to understand hunger and poverty. It was to do something about it. I hope in this new Christian year ahead that begins with the start of Advent and continues through the birth of Christ and the great sacrifice of Jesus on Holy Week and his resurrection and his great gift to us, that we are moved ourselves to fill in the blank, to discover what it is that we're called to be and how it is that we're to serve people of God. Almighty God, give us the vision, the understanding, to go beyond the superficial and to go out into the world and make a difference. God, grant us the gift that we ourselves can fill in the blank. In Christ's name.
Amen.